Hey, Rich Tehrani with TMCnet. Thanks for watching. We are at our Editors Week in Silicon Valley 2016. Patrick Rogers is with us. He's with a company called Cohesity. Patrick, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
So what does Cohesity do?
So Cohesity is focused on the problem of consolidating massive amounts of secondary storage that exist in enterprise data centers today.
And you consolidate it how?
So we've built a distributed system that actually takes all the various workloads, say backup and archive and analytics and file shares, all the stuff that's not mission critical, and consolidates that into a single web scale architecture. And so now you've realized huge efficiencies in terms of reducing data duplication. You're also able to provision capacity where you need it, when you need it. And furthermore, you're able to simplify the workflows that your administrators have to follow within the data center.
Okay, so specifically, how does it work? I'm a Fortune 500 company, and I have all the things that you talked about. I have analytics, I have archiving, I have backups. I have these three distinct things. What do you do for me?
Yeah, so the first thing we do is you would direct your backups towards Cohesity.
Okay.
And you're able to now do away with expensive backup software and backup targets and media servers.
Okay, so now you own all that. Next.
You direct the backup to us. Now that you have a copy of your data on a Cohesity system, you can put that data to multiple uses. So for example, you could provision all of your test and development operations out of these full backup copies of your production data. So now your developers are working off of the same data that you've just backed up off your primary storage systems instead of having to spin up yet another silo of storage. Another way to use this data is for analytics. So oftentimes you'll be backing up production databases and you want to run monthly reports or query your data or detect certain patterns in your data. Now you can use those original backup copies to perform analytic functions.
So you've almost invented a new, let me think this through. You've taken the concept of backup and you've almost opened it up to like APIs and being able to work off the backup. So the backup just becomes, it's like almost like instead of backups now, I have duplicate systems in the cloud, which I can use. They don't tax my systems in the office because I have another, it's almost like, a smart backup, an intelligent backup, right? Because the backup now has the ability to do more than just a traditional backup.
Exactly, and I would take it one step further, which is to say what you're really doing is consolidating workloads. You could start with backup, you could start with your file share data. But the point is that you can start with a single workload and then start layering additional secondary storage workloads on top of that and make efficient use of that data and provision capacity as you need it, simplify your administrative processes, and save a lot of money.
So the only issue is if you're going to do a write, you wouldn't want to do a write to the backup because then it doesn't go to the original, or like do they sync?
So actually, that's a great question. So we snapshot the backup image, and effectively then you can write to the snapshots, or what people refer to as clones. So you always protect your backup image, but now you can clone a zero copy clone, a separate copy that now you can modify and write to.
All right, so if I was a CIO, I'd say you're just confused the crap out of me, right? Because all this stuff's going on. I understand the flexibility and why it's really good because it doesn't tax my resources in the office and there's a lot of benefit. Right. But is that confusing that I have to write and then have a clone or not?
Most data center administrators and IT directors understand the concept of cloning. Okay. They use it all the time. And so it's built into most storage arrays today.
Okay.
But you don't want to necessarily use your expensive primary storage, flash storage arrays to provision all these secondary storage applications. That's a very expensive way to go. So what you'd rather do is have a system that takes advantage of lower cost HDD, hard disk drives, and allows you to take even lower cost cloud storage into your data center. And so we can actually tier data across flash, across more cost-effective HDDs, or even cloud storage, like Amazon Glacier, for example.
So when you talked about archiving, that's what you meant?
Correct.
Okay. All right, so I get it. Is there anything new that we should know about, any news? Or?
Sure, yeah. So I think probably the most important thing is that our software we developed originally to run on standard white box Intel servers. That same software can now run on branded servers, like we just announced capability to run on Cisco UCS. We also are announcing the ability to run this in the cloud on machine images that are provisioned in the cloud. So that's a very powerful concept, because now you buy software from Cohesity, you can run on premises or you can run it in the cloud. And in fact, you can provision those licenses, where it's most effective for your business. So that's very powerful. There aren't many storage technologies out in the market today that have that ability to operate seamlessly on-premise or in the cloud.
So you're almost like turning your storage into a cloud, right?
Exactly.
Your storage is a cloud. So you're turning your storage into a virtual cloud. That's what I was looking for before. I couldn't figure out the right way of explaining.
Yeah, the way I would say that is it's software defined, right? So everything that we do
Software defined storage
is exactly. So everything we do has been developed in software, and that provides you the portability across different
makes sense.
hardware, across different virtualization systems, across different clouds. It's a very powerful concept to be software defined.
What else should we know?
So we're growing fast. We just started shipping product about a year ago. We now have over 50 enterprise accounts that are using Cohesity in production. And so that's a pretty significant milestone. Every quarter we've been doubling our customer count. And starting from 2, we've now doubled.
That's awesome.
4 quarters in a row. So yeah, business is going very, very well.
That's great.
And primarily because it's solving a big problem that exists in the data center today.
How do people find you?
You find us by going to www.cohesity.com and fill out a request, and we'll get back to you.
Silicon Valley, they don't like to use the letter W, do they?
Sure.
Everyone goes to www. No one uses the www. On the East Coast, we still use the W.
Yeah. It's like the 210 instead of I-210.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much for being here today. This is great.
All right. Thank you for having me.
Take care.